Hello and welcome back. I'm sure you all have been practicing the words that we have been doing all day. An intensive session today where we've been looking at word stress and how we are stressing words to get them correct. And we've seen how different where the stress is, the difference of that changes the meaning of the same word. We've come to pronunciation and syllable stress. There are a few basic guidelines about syllable stresses that we need to take a look at, which is on page 57 of your workbooks. Yes, page 57, basic guidelines about syllable stresses. So, the first one that we have is the longest vowel sound is generally the stressed syllable. Now, why do we call them basic guidelines? Yes, and why do we say is generally? Because in English we have to always be careful. We can't say it is the rule or it is always, because I am sure there will be a word somewhere or the other hiding in a dictionary which will jump up at you to say, but I don't follow that rule. So make sure we say it's basic guidelines just to give you at least 70 to 80% of correct syllable stresses. If you don't get the 20%, it doesn't matter, but we have to get 80% of them always correct. So the longest vowel sound is generally the stressed syllable. Then we have some rules, which is the words ending with shin, the words that end with T-I-O-N, we stress the syllable before shin. For example, termination. Termination, the ne gets a stress. Termination. Then we have animation, meditation, meditation, education or education, either of the word, it's correct. So the words that end with shin, we stress the syllable before shin, like in termination, animation, meditation, education. Okay, then we have in the words ending with L-O-G-Y, logy. Yes, in the words that end with logy, we have the syllable before logy is stressed. For example, terminology. Terminology, please say it with me, terminology. Biology. Biology. Then we have theology. Theology. Eulogy. E-U-L-O-G-Y, eulogy. Words that end with ity, I-T-Y, the syllable before ity is stressed. For example, compatibility. Bill gets a stress. Compatibility. Comfortability. Comfortability. Stability. Stability. Okay, in the words ending with ix, as in I-C-S, ix, the syllable before ix is stressed. For example, acrobatics, bat gets the stress. Acrobatics. Aerobics, ro gets a stress. Aerobics. Aeronautics, not gets the stress. Yes, ergonomics. Economics. So the words ending with ix, the syllable before ix is stressed. Then we have in the words ending with turi, T-O-R-Y, the syllable before the syllable stress is turi, but be careful with the rule breakers. For example, laboratory, bor gets the stress. These are the rule breakers. Laboratory, it's not laboratory, it's laboratory. Mandatory, it's not mandatory, it's mandatory. Not mandate, it's mandate. Mandatory, not mandatory. Mandatory. Then we have territory. Territory. All words that end with en or o on will be pronounced without the vowel sound preceding it. For example, garden, garden, pardon. So remember, it's not garden, it is not pardon. The vowel sound is not said, so it becomes garden. So it becomes a nasal garden, pardon. Yes? Then all words ending with ent or ant should be pronounced by replacing with small instead. For example, recruitment, recruitment. Yes, recruitment. Then we have department, department. Agreement, agreement. And of course the word that we've done earlier, government, government. Government. Let me hear you say it once more. Government, government. Yes, government. Excellent. Then we have sentiment, sentiment. Yes, so we have these few general guidelines. The next one is that words that end with words that end in age, yes, words that end with age are pronounced age and not age. For example, it's not average, it's average. You'll see when you put these into practice and you see how the words are being formed, and you see now how to say luji, iti, ix, turi and shen, and now of course age, you see the speech becoming very different. It's not average, it's average. It's not garbage, it's garbage. It's not bandage, it's bandage. Not manage, it's manage. It's not cabbage, it's cabbage. Not package or package. Cottage, and of course what we all use and speak, language. Language. So let's look at these words once more. Average, bandage, cabbage, cottage, garbage, manage, package, language. These are how we have said general guidelines to syllable division. Then we have, of course, the misplaced syllable stress can change the meaning of the words. This is something that we had been doing earlier. For example, this is a very, very important table that we have here. The first one is a noun and a verb, process and process. The sentence is, underneath is, getting admission in the college was a tedious process or process. So I would like you to do that. Take a look at the following sentences that you have on your screen. On your screen you have the sentences, yes? So now take a look at these sentences and tell me which one will we use for what? Process or process. Getting admission in the college was a tedious process or process. I asked the clerk as to how much time he will take to process or process my account. I asked the clerk as to how much time he will take to process or process my account. Next one is present or present. Betty bought a present for Bennett. Betty bought a present for Bennett, or Betty bought a present for Bennett. They presented the chief guest with the souvenir they presented the chief guest with a souvenir. You have to tell me which is the correct one. Next sentence is Pam and Peter were working on the project together. Okay, Pam and Peter were working on the project together. Project or project? The party projected a clean image. And now you have the word image as well in the here, and age we had said becomes ij, so it's not image but image. So project or project, subject or subject are the two options that we have. The sentences are, I have always found history a boring subject or subject. The prisoners were subject or subjected to extreme torture by the army. Then we have object or object. The crystal vase was an object or object of desire. I believe the judge will object or object to the defendant's plea. Yes? Then we have career or carrier. Please remember these are two different words with two different spellings with two extremely different meanings as well. Career or carrier. Please remember how I am pronouncing each word. It's career with a rear at the end, yes, and carrier. So youngsters today are conscious about their carrier or career. The goods were sent by a private carrier or courier. And we have record or record, which is he found his favorite record or record in the store. Jim wanted to record or record the conversation for reference. Take a look at these words once more. Process, present, present, project, project, subject, subject, object, object, career, carrier, record, and record. Do you hear the difference? I'm sure you do, and you know the difference as well. So let's take a look at what the sentences are and what is the word that we're using here. In the first sentence here, getting admission in the college was a tedious process. Excellent. Getting admission in the college was a tedious process. I asked the clerk as to how much time he will take to process my account. To process, that's the verb. Present and present. Betty bought a present for Bennett. Betty bought a present for Bennett. They presented the chief guest with a souvenir. Please remember the pronunciation. Souv, ver in the middle, clearly heard. Souvenir. Yes, souvenir. They presented the chief guest with a souvenir. We have then project and project. Project and project. We have Pam and Peter were working on a project together. That's a project. Yes, Pam and Peter were working on the project together. And then we have the second sentence, the party projected a clean image. The party projected a clean image. Subject and subject, we have, I always found history a boring subject. This is just a sentence here, it's not my personal opinion, but I always found history a boring subject. And the prisoners were subjected. The prisoners were subjected to extreme torture by the army. Okay, next one is object or object. We have the crystal vase was an object of desire. The crystal vase was an object of desire. And we have, I believe the judge will object to the defendant's plea. Object. We have career or carrier. We have youngsters are conscious about their career. And we have the goods were sent by a private carrier. Yes, youngsters today are conscious about their career and the goods were sent by a private carrier. Then we have record or record. He found his favorite record in the store. The noun. He found his favorite record in the store. And then we have Jim wanted to record. Jim wanted to record the conversation for reference. Yes, Jim wanted to record the conversation for reference. So, we have a list of words here with first sound stress, mid sound stress and last sound stress on page 58. I'm sure you can see it. So, let's look at the first sound stress. The words here. I would like you to say them as well with me so that we can practice them together. The first sound stress we have accent. Please remember, how are we stressing? Higher pitch, more force, longer vowel sound. Three things together give us stress. So let's go. The first is accent. Accent. Addict or an addict. Here we are using addict. He is an addict. Addict. Conduct. Conduct. Contrast. Customer. Perfect. Interest. Number. These are all first sound syllables, so please make sure you're stressing it correctly with extra strength, higher pitch and a longer vowel sound. Absent. Address. Contract. City. Object. Family. Industry. Relative. Okay, so accent, addict, conduct, contrast, customer, perfect, interest, number, absent, address, contrast, city, object, family, industry, and relative. The second is the mid-stress sound, which is democracy. Democracy. The mock gets the stress. Democracy. It's not a democracy, it is democracy. Democracy. Then we have political. Political. Mechanical. Mechanical. Then we have hypocrisy. You know all the words here. These are just very simple smaller words that we use to make sure we know where the sound stress is, just to get a practice on these words. So the first one was democracy, second political, third mechanical, fourth hypocrisy. Corrective. Medicinal, not medicinal. The stress is on so we get medicinal. Medicinal. Yes, America. Now this is another one that we'll have to keep correcting quite often. We have quite a few students saying America with the A sound. And how did we say we have to correct it? America, not a-me. So the jaw is closer. America. America. Yes, it's when you wish Christmas, it's not Merry Christmas, it's merry, merry. So the same thing as that here, it's America. Yes, America, instructions, diplomacy, diplomacy, photographer, photographer, familiar, familiar. Then we have monotony, hopefully not something that you're thinking about. Monotony, we need to practice these words. Monotony. Exposure. Department, and we said M-E-N-T, E-N-T becomes mint, so department. Next is important, which it is important. Then we have process or process, process or process. We carry on with these words just to practice the last sound stress now. Like we have the first word here, refer. We've done this word today earlier, and we said it's not refer, it's refer. Concerned, concerned. Then we have direct, direct. We have renew. It's not renew, but renew. Not renew my contract, but renew my contract. Re and new. Renew my contract. However, words we've done today. However, congratulations. Congratulations, because you have put in a lot of effort for all these past days and you're doing very well. So, congratulations. Event. Assume. Conclude, not conclude, but conclude. We have overage, July, 13, 13. We have enough, we do, but here, enough. Prefer comes again just the same way as R-E-F-E-R, it's refer. This is also prefer. It's not refer and prefer, it is refer and prefer. Like the fur on the animal, the same way. Fur. Refer and prefer. Yes? This is something that we have for tomorrow that I've kept, which is voice modulation and intonation, just to ask questions how we go about it. It's a very important and an easy session that we have, but before that I need to have this word stress and syllable stress in place, because only then does voice modulation sit in place and have some effect. So just to overview, just to take a review of what we've done today in syllables and syllable stress, we've done a whole lot of words. We've done what is used where. The syllable and syllable division is what we did. So if we look at this passage that we had on page 51 of your workbooks, page 51. Do we all have our workbooks open on page 51? Okay, good. Which says comprehensive consonant practice. We have it on your screens as well. Yes, comprehensive consonant practice. Now, this is not just for consonants, but we can also use this passage to practice our stressed words. That's why I did not do it yesterday, and that's why I'm bringing it forward today, because I wanted to use this passage to practice consonants that we completed yesterday and the syllable stress together today. Comprehensive consonant practice. Read it once, because it gives you a lot of consonants that we need to practice and have in place, and now that we know the stressed syllable as well, let's try and look at it. I'll read it once, and then maybe you can take a look and mark where the stressed syllable is, so that you can practice it well. This passage, if you practice well, you can get a practice of nearly all consonants and vowel sounds. Let's look at the passage. It is, I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is just an employer. He gives you what you ask, but once, please remember, pronunciation of once is like there is a W in the beginning. It's not once, it's once, like W-O-N. So once. But once you have set the wages, why you must bear the task. I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn, dismayed, that any wage I had asked of life, life would have willingly paid. Of course, it's just a passage to practice consonants and the syllable stress. There are many passages out there that make that happen. This is one of the most common ones that we have picked up. And of course, we've put in words that we think will commonly be mispronounced. So, I bargained with life. I'll read it once more. Please get the syllable stress right. I bargained with life for a penny. Please remember life with the I sound clearly to be heard. Life for a penny. And life would pay no more. However, a very important word we said today. However, I begged at evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is just an employer. He gives you what you ask. But once you have set the wages, clearly heard, set the wages, why you must bear the task. I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn dismayed, that any wage I had asked of life, life would have willingly paid. A, w, t, v, all to be practiced a lot. Yes, the words that we have in a passage, the comprehensive consonant practice, is also something I would like you to practice with me now with the correct stressed syllable. That's why I had asked you to go through the words, look at where the sounds are, what are the correct sounds, so that we can also make these words join the list of words that we've done in pronunciation. Yes? The first one, on page 51, we are still on page 51, we have aggressive, the to be heard at the end, aggressive, accurately. And now we'll know A-T-E-L-Y, when words end, this is another sort of pattern, yes, that we can write down for us as well. A-T-E-L-Y, when words end with A-T-E-L-Y, they become atly. They become atly, not atly, but atly. For example, it's not accurately, it is accurately. Accurately. Okay? Affirm. Automatic. Automatic. Aptitude is an a sound word, aptitude. Ap gets the clear stress, it's aptitude. This other word that we had, that I did in the beginning today, beginning. Yes, beginning, not beginning, it's beginning. Gin gets the stress, beginning. Let me hear you practice it once more. Not beginning, but beginning. Once more, beginning. Good. Then we have confirm. Confirm. Then the next word is competently. Competently. Yes? Competent. Not competent, but competent. Conversation but, we've done this word before. I would like the answer from you. Not conversation but exactly. Conversation. Conversation. Then we have disconnect. Like a phone or a communication link. Disconnect. Dis gets the stress. Disconnect. Description. Crip gets the stress. We've done the word today. Description. Embarrassed. A sound to be heard very clearly. Embarrassed. It's not embraced. It is embarrassed. Embarrassed. Then we have enthusiastic. Take your time with the word. There are a lot of vowel sounds in this word. Enthusiastic. Not enthusiastic, but enthusiastic. Z sound to be heard there as well. Enthusiastic. Enthusiastic. So, let's say the word a little quicker now. Enthusiastic. Enthusiastic. Yes. And where is the stress? Enthusiastic. The A sound gets the stress. As we said, the stress syllable is generally a vowel sound. So here, the A vowel sound is getting stressed. So, enthusiastic. Okay. Effectively. Effectively. I know it's the end of the day. We have just 10 more minutes left. I know we've put in a lot of effort. The energy levels are a little low now. But I would like you to carry on the last few minutes. Give it all the attention you have, because we need to practice these words very well to have them in place. These are most commonly mispronounced words. We need to have them pronounced absolutely correctly for us as teachers. Yes, all I'm doing is trying to get you to practice the sounds and the stressed syllable, so that when you go home, you practice these words, use them in everyday speech correctly, remember how to use them correctly, and also while we're doing these words, please make a note in your workbooks where the stress of syllable is. Because if you're not making a note of where the stress syllable is, you will forget it, because it's not sitting in place right now. Yes, so make sure you get the stress syllable correct, you get exactly where the stress syllable is, what is the vowel sound that is being produced, so that you always pronounce it correctly. Please start using these words in correct ways right now. Immediately, another word we had done today. Immediately, not immediately, but immediately, long E, immediately. So the vowel sound that is being stressed here is me, E, me, immediately. Good. Next one is gripping. Then it is indicate. The in gets the stress. Indicate. Indicate. Intensity. The 10 gets the stress. Intensity. Mirror. Mirror gets the stress. Mirror. Look at it's a small word, mirror. And already in that as well we have a stressed syllable, mir. Mir and mirror. Okay? Mirror. Pause. Pause gets the stress in the next word. Positive. 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 Permission. A word that we use very often either to give or to ask for. Yes, I need to ask for permission to go on leave. Yes, permission, not permission. Remember the permission. I cannot permit you to go at the moment. The permission was not granted. So, the part said lower and mission goes higher. Permission. You can hear the mish clearly stressed. Permission. Yes. Next one is resilient, resilient. Selectively, lek gets the stress, selectively. I hope you're making a note in your workbook of all the words. Yes, selectively, lek gets the stress, selectively. And the verb to be heard clearly, tiv, selectively. Now the next word, I would like you to try and tell me how is it pronounced. Tentative? Is it tentative? No, it's not. So what is it? It's tentative. Like the tent, T-E-N-T, that you generally put at a party. Tent, and then tentative. And here I will need to hear the correct t sounds, the correct T sound to give us tentative. Tentative. Yes, tentative. Then we have unproductive. Unproductive. Yes, good. Now this is how I would like you to carry on doing each of these words so that you can get the correct syllable stress as well. Yes, we need to have these words and these syllable stresses in place. Just a quick review in what we had done with syllable stress. We had said some things that we need to remember is that when we have certain words which end in a certain way, generally they will follow a pattern. Generally, like the words here, like we said, basic guidelines about syllable stress. When a word ends with shin, we stress the syllable before shin. Follow these rules and try and see where the stressed syllable lies in this list of words on page 51. Following these rules, try and practice the words and see where do they fit. So we said we stress the syllable before shin, like termination, animation. In the words ending with logi, end with logi, we stress the syllable before logi, like terminology, biology, theology, psychology. Yes, eulogy. In words ending with ity, we said the syllable stress before ity is stressed, like compatibility, comfortability, stability. Yes, then we have the words ending with ix. We have the syllable before ix is stressed, acrobatics, aerobics, aeronautics, mathematics, economics. Yes, in the word ending with turi, the syllable stress is turi, but be careful of the rule breakers that we've given you here, like laboratory, mandatory, territory. Okay, all words ending with n, on will be pronounced without the vowel sound preceding it, like it is not garden, it is garden. It becomes a nasal n sound. I'm stressing these because this will give you the pattern to get to pronunciation, to pronounce the words correctly for the rest. Yes, garden, pardon, and not pardon and garden, but pardon and garden. And words that end with ent and ant should be pronounced by replacing the small sound. For example, it's not recruitment, it's recruitment. Yes, recruitment, not department, but department. Not agreement, but agreement. Not government, it's government. So ent at the end gives you the int at the end and not ent. And of course age words at the end give you ij, average, bandage, cabbage, cottage, garbage, manage, package, and language. Yes, we've done a very important day today with word stress, word syllables, word endings. All that we've done today are very important. I would like you to please go home, look at the words, see where the stress is, practice them. Also, if you could, listen to some English channel, try and see how they are pronouncing the words. Of course, you will have differences in accents from the American or the British channel that you listen to. on TV or watch, but try and see how the flow of words is, where the stress is so clearly higher and lower, how they're stressing, how stretched the vowel sounds are. Some words will be pronounced differently as you do, but that's for us to change our pronunciations and get to a standard. That's what we are doing here. So tomorrow we will carry on with our last day together for this particular session, and we will see what intonation, rate of speech, speech modulation is, how to have the best to communicate well. You've done a lot of effort, a lot of words today. Keep up with your energy. We will come together tomorrow again and see what we do. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good day here. Bye-bye.